It's time for the Kim Hammer Show, where you'll learn how your state government affects you, your family, and community. Here's Kim Hammer.
Hey, good Saturday afternoon. Hope you're having a great day here in Arkansas. Beautiful weather we've got, a little dry. Maybe we'll get some rain here before long, or as the day goes along, you'll get some rain. We've got a Razorback game coming up on later this afternoon that you'll be able to listen to or pick up your favorite sports team that's playing football. Just hope you're having a great day in the beautiful state of Arkansas and out enjoying it. We got a really good show today. I have a couple ladies that have joined me all the way from Virginia and also Atlanta. They have come all the way to Arkansas for a special event this week regarding an organization that they represent called the Day of Tears. Don't do like I did Thursday morning on Dave's show and said Trail of Tears. That is not it. That was a slip on my part. This is the Day of Tears, and glad to have them joining us. We have in studio Diana Shores, who is the communication director for the Day of Tears, and then we have Catherine Davis, who is with the Restoration Project and on the board of the Day of Tears. And we have joining us on the line Representative Deanne Vaught, who helped sponsor the legislation for Day of Tears here in Arkansas, and also Jason Rapert, who was a Senate sponsor. And so we've got five folks to talk about this today, and an important topic to our society and to our state now that we are the number one pro-life state in the nation. Thank you very much to a lot of the hard effort of those that are represented in this call. And so we want to talk about the Day of Tears. First of all, ladies, if you would, give people a little bit of a comfort level about you personally, anything you'd like to share about your family or, being, from out of state. Anything you'd like to share, just give people a comfort level. And Catherine, let me start with you.
Of course, you start with me.
Of course.
I am Catherine Davis, the president and founder of the Restoration Project, which is a pro life, pro family, pro education organization that right now is focused on life because without life, there's no family that needs an education. And I am very passionate about this issue of life and why we should be mourning, why we should have a day of tears.
Well, and I'm going to come back to why you are so passionate about it. So get ready because I'm going to answer that question. You might turn that mic down and just a little bit position a little better so people can hear you a little better. All right. So, Diana, tell us about yourself.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for having us on your show today. It's been my pleasure the last couple of days to get to know so many great Arkansas legislators. I can tell the listeners here that they are well represented for the faith and family values that they share with you all. And I just appreciate you having us here and being so hospitable to us. I've been an advocate for candidates who stand for strong faith and family values. So for 20 years, my husband and I have been campaign volunteers. We've been paid staffers on campaigns, and our heart is always for the life issue. My husband was conceived in rape, and he was born in December of 1973. That's the year that Roe versus Wade came out of the Supreme Court, that
Wow.
decision. And my mother-in-law chose life at the age of 17. And she lived in a small town where being pregnant out of wedlock was something that was she would be ostracized for. And she felt very isolated and alone, yet she stood strong and she stood for life. And I'm thankful that she did that. So I'm a firm believer that we should all take a firm stand that life has value from conception to natural death, despite whatever the circumstances are in which you're conceived, whether it's rape or incest. So I believe that we should save even the 1%. So they say that 1% of abortions are done on individuals that have been victims of rape. And I'm an advocate even for the 1% because all life has value. And so when I was invited to join the Day of Tears team by Ken Adams, who's the founder of the organization, I quickly said yes because I knew that this was an organization and a mission that I could get behind. And I'm proud to be here today representing them.
One thing I want to do is give the website. So as you're listening today, you can go up to the website and just kind of be cruising over it. But it's www.thedayoftears. No, I'm sorry. www.dayoftears.com. www.dayoftears.com. you can pull up their website. I like that image that you've got on the very front of your page. That's just a profound image that somebody came up with, and really speaks volumes. Let me bring into the conversation now. Let's start with State Representative Deanne Vaught. Hey, Deanne, first of all, tell folks where you represent so they got a geographical location of your district that you serve.
Okay, so I'm Deanne Vaught, and I serve District 4, which is the southwest corner of Arkansas. It's DeQueen, Horatio, Foreman, Ashdown, Derrick, that little corner of the state is where I'm at.
And anybody knows Deanne, she's just very calm and very quiet, just kind of, you don't ever notice she's in the room kind of person. Actually,
Oh.
she's a firecracker, probably to the size of a stick of dynamite. When she gets hold of something and does something, she's going to do it and do it right. Senator Rapert, come on in the conversation, and most folks probably know where you're from, but just go ahead geographically, give them your location, where you serve.
Hey, good morning, Senator. It's always good to be with you. I hope you can hear me okay on this line.
We can.
I represent Faulkner County area, Senate District 35. That's basically the Conway, the Greenbrier, and the Valonia area of the state.
Very good. Also, you're in a race for something. What's your race?
Yes, I'm running for Lieutenant Governor. I was the first candidate to announce for that, and of course, it's a interesting political year, so we've got a lot of people getting in the race, but very proud to hold what I believe is the social conservative and fiscal conservative ground in the race, and I appreciate you mentioning that.
Okay. All right. First of all, Representative Vaught, how did you get involved with the Day of Tears organization, and what does this mean to Arkansas as far as legislation that was passed?
So Miss Ann Fitzgerald had sent an email out asking and looking for someone to carry a resolution in the state of Arkansas, which would take a day of mourning for those that had been aborted. And it struck me as something that was very conservative, something that was very dear to my heart is, we do funerals for babies who are stillborn. We do funerals for people who have lived to be 105, but we never take time or a moment to mourn those who never got a chance. And that really touched my heart. And so I reached out to Miss Ann, and that's how this whole process began is, I wanted Arkansas to take a minute and think about it, just stop. And I'm very thankful that I did reach out to her and that it is something that we got done in the state of Arkansas. Looking forward to passing it again not this coming January, but the next for session. I think it's something that we just have to keep pushing is reminding people that these are children that were never given a chance. And that's heartbreaking. And that's kind of how I got involved in this, Senator.
And Senator Rapert?
Yes, sir.
As far as your involvement, of course, and for the people that don't know, you can't run a resolution or, run a piece of legislation. You got to have a sponsor on each side. So what got you drawn into helping out with the Day of Tears?
Well, I believe, of course, and I appreciate Representative Vaught's leadership. I can't recall which was first, but I know Deanne had reached out and began to get some contact from some other House members, and they had asked me to run that in the Senate. And it's wonderful in Arkansas because now that we are the most pro-life state in the nation, that's a result of people that have been elected to the legislature that hold a pro-life view. And Representative Vaught and many others in the House have been significant champions for this cause. And so they had asked me to run that. And, I don't think it, as I'm sitting here listening this morning and participating, I don't think it was by accident that the folks with the Day of Tears had us to run this resolution during this particular session, because we also passed SB 6, which was the total abolishment of abortion in our state, except to save the life of a mother. And this is why it's important that they continue doing this in states all across the nation, because it's putting in front of people the humanity of these children. And it's unbelievable. My position. It's unbelievable to me. It's inconceivable to me that in my nation, over 60 million little babies have been killed through abortion since 1973. And it seems like there is a segment of our country that just fails to realize that these were little human babies. And the Day of Tears, I think, is a fantastic way to keep this in front of people so that we take time to remember, just as Representative Vaught said, because life is precious. Life is God-given. It says in the book of Jeremiah that God knew Jeremiah before he formed him in the womb. And from my perspective, and as you know, Senator, I'm president of the National Association of Christian Lawmakers that formed last August. When we came out the gate, we put down in writing, on paper, and members sign a pledge that they support life from conception, and we want to abolish abortion in our country. And so there are people just like Representative Vaught and Senator Hammer, myself, and the Arkansas legislature that are spread around the country. And I've talked with the folks a couple days ago about making sure that they have an opportunity to address our body because we are very, very pro-life at the NACL. We've got 26 state chairs in place. We have members and supporters in 49 states now. And I would love to see many of our members pick up the Day of Tears resolution and run it in their state.
The other day, and Representative Vaught helped set this up, we all paid for our own dinner. Okay, so any of you all that are out there looking to see if we tripped up ethically, we all paid for our own dinner. We were not bought dinner. But for 2 nights now, this past week on Tuesday and Wednesday night, y'all were hosting a dinner, and several legislators were there, and I had a chance to sit beside Ken. And I said, Ken, what is it that inspired you to start the Day of Tears? I'm going to let one of y'all, either I can tell a story, but they'd probably rather hear it from one of y'all. I'm going to let one of y'all tell what it is that inspired Ken. Because one thing you need to know also, this is a 501c3 nonprofit, 501c3 nonprofit, does not advocate on political level. But I also understand that this is pretty much private investment funds. It's not like they go out and seek money from organizations. Not that people can't give to it. I'm sure y'all would welcome any contributions. But really, Ken and his wife are pretty much carrying this thing out of the back of their pocket. And when he told me that, I thought, okay, this is an organization that's doing it for the right reason. Not that raising money is bad, but when you are that convicted that you're paying for it out of your pocket, that tells me something about what's behind driving you. Tell them about why it was Ken got involved.
So Ken Adams, who is an amazing man, who is 100% all in saving the lives of babies, was traveling one day and he saw a flag at half-staff. And he asked himself, who died? Which I think is a typical question that any of us ask when we see a flag at half-staff. And he asked himself, who lowers the flag for the millions of babies that have been lost to abortion? Who weeps for them? An ocean of tears, as Ken says, have been shed over abortion. So Ken got myself and Fitzgerald on board and asked us to help him launch this project where on January 22nd of every year, that is the date that Roe versus Wade came out of the Supreme Court, that on January 22nd, we would commemorate and memorialize the lives of the over 60 million babies lost to abortion by asking private businesses, private individuals, and then states to lower their flag in memorial for the babies to create a national conversation answering the question, who died? So far, we've had 5 states pass resolutions. 1 state overturned that.
Yeah, this is going to knock your socks off when you hear this.
Yes,
Go ahead.
we'll talk. Okay, I'll talk about that now. So we're from Virginia, so we decided we were going to start with our first state. Now Congressman Ben Klein, who at the time was in the Virginia House of Delegates, sponsored a resolution to lower the flag on January 22nd in Virginia. This is in 2017. And the resolution passed overwhelmingly. Fast forward to a legislative body that changed. So we went from a pro-life legislative body to a pro-choice legislative body. And they came in and changed it to January 22nd being the Day of the Woman to celebrate their ability to have an abortion. It's heartbreaking that they would do that. In my own state of Virginia, our governor, Ralph Northam, who's a pediatric neurologist, even came out to say that a child could be born, made comfortable while its parents decided whether it would live or die. That's infanticide. So that's where how far we've come in our nation on the other side of the abortion issue, and we've got to keep pushing back. So these resolutions in the states are forcing a conversation where we're asking ourselves as a nation, are we still one nation under God? And I think what we're seeing is that our resolution and the language of our resolution and our mission is resonating with people across the country who value life. And my generation is coming up as the most pro-life generation. And I believe that someday soon we're going to see an end to abortion. But even after that, there's going to have to be a long time memorialization of the babies that we've lost. And so the Day of Tears organization will be there for us to never forget what happened to the 60 million babies that have been lost to abortion. Abortion hurts women, it hurts men, it hurts their families. And this day not only memorializes the babies that have been lost, but it gives an opportunity for those families to have a day of grieving because abortion hurts so bad. You know, the pro-choice lobby wants women to think that this empowers them. Abortion does not empower women. It hurts women. It causes mental health issues in the long term. And we've got to start reaching out to these women. We're not here to shame women. We're here to love on them. We're here to talk to them about the lives that have been lost, and we're here to point them to organizations that can help them find hope and healing. And we need hope and healing for our nation. And so our mission is to lower the flags on January 22nd. And we just appreciate what you all have done here in Arkansas and passing that resolution and memorializing the babies here in Arkansas that have been lost to abortion. And we thank you for that.
And how many, unfortunately, Virginia, as you were talking, I'm thinking, liberals can't come up with anything original because if they do, it's something that's going to be rejected. But the fact that you originally came up with Day of Tears in Virginia, then the liberals came in and reversed it and stole away from you that day, just really strikes a nerve with me personally, that they can't win on anything that they support on their platform because, fortunately, I think there's still a high enough level of rejection once people see that. So for them to come and steal your day and turn it into what they did, I think just as a reflection of the liberal mentality that, we need to beat back and take Virginia back, and hopefully in time that'll happen. You got 4 other states that you're working on, and Senator Raper could be a great resource with you with the other connections. I told Ken that the other night. It'd be good for y'all two to connect up so that, you could find legislators in other states that would be like Representative Vaught, Senator Raper to take the charge on this. What are the other 4 states that you've got?
So this year we actually had resolutions passed in Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana in 2021. And next year we're hoping to pass resolutions in 13 additional states. So we're hoping to have 20% of the country adopting these resolutions by the end of next year. It's pretty ambitious given that we only have 4 staffers who work part-time on this project. We have a great advisory board. Catherine Davis, who's here with us today, is a great advisory board member. They support our mission and what we're doing. But we're changing the conversation. And it just is a testimony to what every individual can do if they speak out on this issue.
All right. So Representative Vaught, talk through the process. Did you meet any resistance on the legislation? Why resolution instead of an actual bill that would turn into an act? And did you talk about the pathway of the resolution moving through?
So I didn't have any resistance. We had over 80 co-sponsors join the bill. Everybody on the Republican side was excited to join this resolution. The reason it was a resolution is that's the way Miss Ann brought it to me, was in the form of a resolution. And I think that way it keeps it in the forefront. It keeps light on the situation. If we do it every session that we have, it's a resolution. It reminds people, and it's kind of like an educational type tool. If we keep reminding them this is what's happening, hopefully very soon we will end this process called abortion which I think they refer to as a genocide, and they're right. I mean, I don't see how there's much difference in this and the Holocaust, except for it's tiny little babies who's never had a chance to grow up and take a breath or play a ball game or be in a little pageant or be a little cheerleader, grow up to be a doctor. And I think if we keep light on it in the form of a resolution, I think it continues to be an educational type tool. We can run it as a bill if that's what everybody decides that we need to do. I'm really good with that. I'll champion a bill through. But again, I think the resolution helps us keep the focus on the educational part of it.
Okay. Well, that helps people, I think, understand the wisdom and the logic behind why the resolution, which, maybe the average person doesn't realize. You can run resolutions, joint resolutions between the House and the Senate, but you can run a piece of legislation where it becomes permanent. But you're right. If it's not brought up consistently, then people have the tendency to forget. And I think that is Satan's tool, is when God's people, or just moral people who understand how that, Christianity always gets branded as the ones that are pro-life. I think what people need to realize, you cannot be a Christian but still understand the immoral action of killing a baby. And so I think we need to open up our mindset, that is, people who are of like-mindedness, that realize the atrocity. So keeping it in front of people on a regular basis, is a good thing. And Senator Rapert won't be in the Senate next time around, but if you haven't targeted anybody on the Senate side, I'll be glad to help you on that end if you haven't already committed to somebody else. We're going to have to take a break here.
I'll take you up.
Okay. We're going to have to take a break here in just a minute on the Kim Hammer Show, and we're going to come back and continue this conversation with Diana Shores, Communication Director for the Day of Tears. You can go up to their website, www.thedayoftears.com, and look over their website, interact with them. And we have Catherine Davis, Restoration Project, with Restoration Project, but also on the advisory board, the Day of Tears. When we come back, Catherine, get ready, because we're going to cue you up, because you have a personal perspective, personal insight about the population among the aborted children, and you have some ideas that I think you have a very unique perspective on that you're willing to talk openly about. So when we come back after the break, I'm going to get Catherine into the conversation, and Senator Rapert and Representative Vaught, you guys hang on as long as you can. Love to have you stick in the conversation, but understand you got schedules to go to. You just drop off whenever you want to. All right, hang on a second. We're going to come back to the Kim Hammer Show after this break. Welcome back to the Kim Hammer Show here on 101.1 FM The Answer. Hope you're having a great Saturday, enjoying a little downtime, and just be mindful of the beautiful weather you got out there today and take advantage of it. We have Diana Shores, who is the Communication Director with Day of Tears, and also we have Catherine Davis with Restoration Project, and also on the board, advisory board of the Day of Tears. You can go up to their website, www.dayoftears.com. Also joining me online is Representative Deanne Vaught, who is the primary sponsor of the resolution recognizing January 22nd as the Day of Tears, and Senator Jason Rapert, who carried it on the Senate end, joining us here on the Kim Hammer Show. Catherine, I'm going to come to you. I wish you weren't as shy as you are, but, or as guarded with your thoughts as you are, so I know you're going to have to come out of your shell a little bit. Had the opportunity to sit with you at supper the other night, and you kind of broke the ice real well right off of the bat. So you're on the advisory board. Why are you on the advisory board?
When Ken Adams called me to invite me to become a part of the advisory board, he didn't know that the scripture that I typically lead from is in Lamentations 3:48 and 49, and it says, "Tears stream from my eyes because of the destruction of my people. My tears flow endlessly. They will not stop until the Lord looks down from heaven and sees. We have a real issue with abortion in America being used as an instrument of population control. And I don't think most people realize that is what's happening through organizations like Planned Parenthood that launched a Negro Project in 1939 to specifically target Black children, Black women and their children. Um, I am particularly in this fight to educate in the Black community about how abortion is being used. Planned Parenthood is probably the leading abortion provider in our nation. And they are the ones who launched the Negro Project specifically to target Black ministers and other men and women of influence to teach and preach birth control initially and now abortion. And they are succeeding. More than 22 million Black children have lost their lives to abortion. And it is disproportionate to our representation in the population. Right here in Arkansas, you did about 3,100 abortions in 2020. 54% of those abortions were on Black women. And it's because of the targeting. If you look at the population, Black population of Arkansas, you only have about 15% Black. Probably about 1 to 2% of that are women of childbearing age. And yet, 54% of the abortions were on Black women. So we are mourning the lives of all 62 million, but we are particularly mourning the lives of the more than 22 million Black children that have lost their lives at the hands of a white supremacist, systemically racist, their words, not mine, organization like Planned Parenthood.
Okay, and Senator Rayford and Representative Vaught, you guys, this is open mic, so it's y'all jump in anytime. But let me just make this statement because you were pretty open about it. For the benefit of those that aren't watching Facebook Live, you're an African American.
Oh, no, I'm not.
Okay.
I am African American, and I'm also post-abortive. I had 2 abortions myself.
Okay.
And when I had my abortions, I was like, I am woman.
Feel me strong.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought I was exercising a right that had been given to me by our government, not realizing the long-term impact that was going to happen after those abortion decisions. And so I know what abortion does. I know that it is not this benign procedure that empowers you. There was no empowerment for me.
Yep.
It really sent me on a path that was a typical path for most post-abortive women that have had abortions. I began to drink more. I began to drug. I became more promiscuous. I was depressed. And I didn't know that those were all of the side effects, if you will, from my abortion decision. And it wasn't until I got healed of it that I realized, oh my God, that I was the typical woman. So those angry women that yell at us, this is my body, my choice. I recognize that their anger is from, I believe they realized that decision didn't empower them, but it locked them into a cycle of hopelessness and despair, and they can only be angry.
All right, so let me ask you something about Planned Parenthood.
Mm-hmm.
Based on what you just said, here's the statement. Agree, disagree, right or wrong. Everything you just said makes me think that Planned Parenthood is a racist organization if it targets African American women for the purpose of population control or for whatever their agenda is, that they have made it their purpose to target African American women for the purpose of abortion. Agree, disagree? Am I misrepresenting anything?
No, you are not misrepresenting anything. They In their 2008 tax filing to the IRS, they acknowledged that their mission was to achieve a population of a stable, optimum population of a stable size, is what they said. In 2009, Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg said, well, you know, Roe was the case that was going to let us get rid of the populations we didn't want too many of. If you look at the locations of Planned Parenthood's surgical facilities, 79% of them are located in an African American or Latino neighborhood. 80% of their mega centers, 10,000 square feet or larger, are in Black neighborhoods alone. Last year, while we were all sheltering in place because we were going to die from COVID, Planned Parenthood was not sheltering in place. They were killing babies. They killed more than 354,000 babies in 2020 alone. They did not stop abortion at all in any state. I think the only state that restricted it was Texas. Other than Texas, they were still routinely bringing women into their centers, and Black women in particular, because they were telling us that it was safer for us to abort our children than to carry to term or give birth. And yet their employees published in June of last year that they were a racist organization. Their words, not mine. After those 300 employees from around the country posted this open letter acknowledging the racism, the New York Planned Parenthood came back in July and acknowledged that they had caused reproductive harm to women of color. Fast forward August, September, October, Planned Parenthoods from around the country began to do their mea culpas and say, yes, we are systemically racist. We are a white supremacist organization. In April of this year, the president of Planned Parenthood, who happens to be African American, said in I think it was New York Times opinion piece, yeah, Margaret Sanger was racist. Get over it. And she said, we are going to deal with our racism by increasing our services to transgender reproductive rights.
You know, if I was Joe Biden, I'd come out and condemn them just like he's condemned the KKK based on everything that you just said. If they've proclaimed themselves to be a white supremacist group, why are they not being condemned at the national level the way that others are being condemned? Hey, I want to do this because Representative Vaught and Senator Raper are very gracious to join. I want to pause for a second and give them a chance to weigh in on what was just said, and then I'm going to come over to Diana, who's been feverishly writing notes, and let her weigh in on it a second, and then I'm going to come back to Catherine. All right, Senator, let's go to Representative Vaught first to give you a chance to chime in on what's been said.
If her story doesn't make you pause, I mean, it's heartbreaking, actually, to hear all the statistics that she just gave and everything that she just said. And the reason I think that people don't come out and really call out Planned Parenthood is it doesn't fit the left's agenda. Their agenda is not about life, obviously. It's not about the protection of life. It's not about the sanctity of life, which I don't know how. I have a hard time understanding how people say they're on the left and they're Christians after you hear what she just said. Because I read in the Bible that we should protect children and that, that a child is precious. And I have just a really, really hard time understanding. I really do I'm a Christian, but it's okay to kill babies. I'm sorry. I don't even have words after hearing everything that she just said, other than if we don't wake up as a people of a nation under God, we're going to be in a whole lot more trouble than what we're in right now with Joe Biden.
Senator Rayford.
Well, thank you, Kim. And Senator, as you know, I'm by phone with you today. So was that Diana that was speaking?
No, that
earlier?
was Catherine.
That was Catherine. Well, Catherine, I want to applaud you for your courage and applaud you for your boldness. That was one of the best overviews of the true heart behind, or may I say lack of heart, behind the abortion movement in our country. And I just want to applaud you. I know I mentioned to you the other day, or at least one of Ken and someone else that was there, that we would love for you to come to the next Christian Lawmakers meeting. That you go to christianlawmakers.com. We'll have that up there in a few days, but we're going to be meeting. This is for Senator Hammer as well as Representative Vaught. Our NACL is going to meet just prior to the ALEC meeting in San Diego coming up at the end of the year again. And I would love to have Catherine and your organization come present at that meeting, because we adopt model bills, model resolutions, and model ordinances. And I would love to see the organization take up your resolution and endorse that as a model. And that will give you an entree to 26 states that we have operational for sure. But there's a couple points, Kim, and I'll get out of the way for you today. Number one, when you think about what Catherine said, there's no doubt that is one of the most evil organizations that has ever been formed in the history of the world. They kill babies every single day. And to know that they specifically target minority populations in our country, and the eugenics concept that Margaret Sanger was part of, it truly, in the future, when we abolish abortion in this nation, and the true history is written here about the fact that 60 million little innocent babies were killed, it's going to be one of the darkest periods of American history. And I'm glad that we're seeing people awaken to this around the country to stand up against it. Representative Vaught talked about what God would think about this. You know, we are in a nation of the people, by the people, and for the people, that was founded on God-given rights. And the very first one mentioned in the Declaration is that we were endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights, which began with life. And so when I think about God, Senator Hammer, I think about the fact that in the Bible, we know the Ten Commandments, which is the Decalogue, which was the first written law that we know of pretty much in the entire world. One of those commandments is thou shalt not kill. And then in Proverbs chapter 6, it tells us there are 6 things that God actually hates. Yea, 7 are an abomination, and one of those are hands that shed innocent blood. In our country, we have got to conquer this mindset. I will say one last thing, and you guys listening to you've got my attention. I'm walking around talking to you because I can't sit still right now, because this is truly a crisis in America. We're heartsick. The nation is sick with this godlessness that has led us to kill our own children. And so when I think about this, it's not just a Republican-Democrat issue. Think about what's happening in Texas, Senator Hammer. We passed the nation's first heartbeat bill here in Arkansas in 2013. One of our members of the NACL is Senator Brian Hughes, that just passed that Texas heartbeat bill and put that individual cause of action on that. And guess who is jumping in to take the lead from the left to try to sue? It's the Satanic Temple. Mm-hmm. And they claim the reason for that is that this is an abortion ritual. You can go look this up all over the internet. Don't try to tell me that the root of this is not evil, and may I say even satanic. As you know, Kim, we have to stand up for the truth, even sometimes when the ground shakes beneath us. But what I see happening now is that we finally have voices. Last word, and I'm going to have to leave you. Catherine, in the state of Vermont, our state chair there is Representative Victoria Strong. She was the only pro-life and born-again Christian at the time in the Vermont state legislature when she got elected. Only born-again Christian. She relayed to us at our meeting that statistically in Vermont, it's the least church state in the nation and also happens to be the least pro-life as opposed to Arkansas, which is number one right now. It is not an accident that she lives in a state that is the least churched and the least pro-life. People of God, and Representative Vaught said it, you cannot, in my opinion, Representative Vaught talked about people on the left say they're Christian, but they're for abortion. That is absolutely an untruth. It is a lie and a deception. You cannot kill innocent, unborn life or innocent life in general and claim that you are a Christian, because then God would be absolutely on the other side of his word, which he says he hates those that kills innocent life. So, Kim, I thank you for making this a part of your show, that you continue to be a champion for pro-life issues. And I'm very excited that Representative Vaught has led this effort for us in our state. And I look forward to every January the 22nd going forward, where you can add one state after another that's going to be part of the Day of Tears.
Thank you. Hey, a couple things that maybe think you talked about the Satanic Temple coming after them down in Texas and what they said as far as part of their religious ritual. I think back in the biblical days, that's one thing that God wiped out a few nations for, was because they offered their children up as sacrifices, living sacrifices, no different. And so I don't think God has changed his mind over time as far as how he treats that perception.
Amen.
And the second thing about Vermont, ironically, I've got a couple church members that have been up to our one and only church in our denomination in Vermont. We're looking at trying to help them, because to your point, very few, if any, churches up there that are true Bible teaching churches. And when you have the absence of the Bible and the teaching of the truth, then you get a state that turns like Vermont, and that could be the cancer that turns the whole nation. A little cancer starts and turns into a big one.
We need to connect you with Representative Strong up there, Senator Hammer, and I will tell you, and again, since you mentioned this, they have a day. You talked about Virginia that went in there and seized the Day of Tears to turn it into something that celebrates death. They literally have cheers and chants on the floor of the Vermont legislature for abortion. Yeah. It absolutely to me sounds like some scene out of a horror movie or something, that you would do that. But this is happening. And what's happening is that we have sat by and allowed darkness to envelop the people of our country. And the only way to shake them out of that stupor is for the power of the Holy Spirit to move on them and to wake them up that life is precious. God bless you all for doing all you're doing out there.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Senator Raper. Let me go to Diana. You got some notes over there. Let's give you a shot.
Well, I was just thinking as we were all talking, elections have consequences. And so here in Arkansas, the consequence of the elections was that you all have become one of the leading states in the nation for the pro-life movement. And I look at Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who has refused numerous times to bring forward to the floor of the House for a vote the Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act. And this act would save innocent babies who are born alive from botched abortions. It would require that they receive medical care. What kind of country have we become when an innocent baby that's born from a botched abortion cannot receive medical treatment to save their life? How cruel of a nation have we become when we allow this? So we have leaders in our nation, such as Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who won't even bring this bill to the floor for a vote. Everyone in this country should be disgusted at that. The second thing I was thinking about is how we have leaders in our country trying to get rid of the Hyde Amendment. And for your listeners who don't know, the Hyde Amendment would prevent federal dollars from going to the abortion industry. And I can tell you, for those of you who say that money does not come from the federal government to places like Planned Parenthood, you're being fooled. They get money every year that's in our national budget, and they say that the money is not used for abortion, that it's used for administrative costs, that it's used for cancer screenings. But the truth of the matter is this money is propping up this industry. It's keeping the lights on in the abortion industry. It's providing someone to do the scheduling at the abortion facility. They may not be billing the federal government directly for the abortion procedure itself, but they are getting your taxpayer dollars to flood into these facilities to keep the lights on. And we should all be calling our legislators, our congressmen, and our senators, and we should be calling the White House, telling them that we want to vote on the Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act, and that we want to make sure that the Hyde Amendment stands so that our tax dollars do not continue to support an industry that is killing our nation.
If you'll email me what that bill is that you want to get, I'll get it put up on my website so people can see it and refer to it, when they do contact their respective. And, of course, at the, the state level, anything that we can do, which we've cut off money to Planned Parenthood here before. But if you identify areas in the state where you see that money is coming down and is being used for that, and let us know. Sometimes it's just a matter of being pointed in the right direction. I think that this environment of legislators are, anything we can do to stop that from happening. I want to go back to you, Catherine, for a few minutes, and just because we're going to run out of time here. Why are black babies being targeted by Planned Parenthood and other organizations that provide abortions? Why?
Because, as Ruth Bader Ginsburg said, that's the population we don't want too many of. And why they decided to choose the black race, I have no idea, other than they feel that somehow controlling our birth rate is empowering them in some way or something.
Of course, a little bit of conspiracy theory. If the African American race ever got to be greater than any other race, that would no longer allow them to be the race of minority. And I wonder what would be lost once they lost the status of being the race of minority.
Well, let me say this. There's only one race.
And I want you to tell that illustration.
Yes. There's only one race, the human race. So all my Caucasian friends out there in radio land, put your hand near a piece of paper out of your printer or something white. What color are you? And all my black friends out there, put your hand near something that's black. What color are you? We are all colored. We are all made in the image and likeness of God. And it is time to stop agreeing with the devil that there's different races. There's only one race, and it's the human race. And if we would begin to look at one another through the lenses of being a child of God, then we can eliminate all of this foolishness about skin color and begin to comport ourselves the way the Lord intended for us to do as he laid it out in his word.
Let me throw you out a radical idea, because I've actually talked to a couple people about this. I don't know that it's being done in any other state. I think I'll put forth the effort and the initiative to do it. But one thing Ken told me about why he got so engaged in this, he said the day that he was driving down the road and it came on the news that Planned Parenthood was selling baby parts, he said it just overwhelmed him. And it was like the Holy Spirit came over him and said, because he retired at age 50. And I think you still have to have purpose after retirement. And God revealed to him a purpose and brought together a great team like y'all to help out in the cause. But he said the day he heard that Planned Parenthood was participating in selling baby parts from abortions, that's when he decided to establish the Day of Tears. So, commend him for that. What I've thought about, and for all practical purposes, I think I'll go ahead and make a commitment to do this, and we'll see what happens. I'd like to see a monument in our state capitol in honor of all the babies that have been aborted in Arkansas. We have monuments for everything else. Why shouldn't we have a monument that reflects? Because the flag would only be lowered one day a year. What if we were to team up to try to put together an effort also to put monuments on state capitol grounds where people would see how many babies were aborted in that state, in that image? And I'm looking at the image on your website. We'd have to work through the details of that, but I've got 2 minutes or less. Your initial reaction to that thought?
I love that idea. I would love to partner with you on that. I think that the more we continue the conversation throughout the entire year, not just on January 22nd, the closer that we're going to become to ending abortion in America. And that's our mission. Our mission is to end abortion. So we thank you for that great idea.
Catherine?
If the baby's a black baby.
We would have one of every
No,
kind.
I think everything that we can do to remind people on the value of life is critical. We have so allowed the abortion industry to strip our culture of the value of life, other than to sell the baby body parts. Like the University of Pittsburgh was ordering baby body parts by skin color.
It's big business.
It's big business.
Okay.
And yes,
I'm down to less a minute. I'm going to hit you. You got 15 seconds to answer this. And I'm asking you because you're African American. Why would any African American female Democrat not vote to terminate abortion, given what you said today? 15 seconds.
because they've been lied to and convinced that it's a civil right to kill your child.
Good enough. This is the Kim Hammer Show. We've had representatives from the organization Day of Tears. You can go up to their website, www.dayoftears.org. And you can also donate to their organization if you would like. They're pretty much self-funded, but I'm sure they'd appreciate anything else. Ladies, thank you for being with me on the Kim Hammer Show today.